anyone who is doing any kind of work with minority religions, the separation of church and state is really, really important. So this is compared to his predecessor, George W. Bush, who went on record as governor of Texas as saying that Wicca is not a religion. So that's a dramatic contrast, and I'm hoping that things will go really well for pagans in the next 4 or possibly 8 years.
Now that the ritual has happened, how do you feel?
I feel euphoric. I mean, it was a very nice day. It's been extremely cold here, as you can tell from the frozen tidal basin. And today was really warm by comparison to the last few days. And it snowed for a little bit in the morning, so we were concerned that the weather would be problematic for the event, but it turned out to be very nice.
And I know you had some trouble with the electricity.
Yes, but you know, I actually brought a marine battery with me, and that's how we powered the sound system. This is the result of an event we did in 2007 in Lafayette Square Park across from the White House to celebrate the Veterans Pentacle Quest and its successful resolution. And at that point they were renovating Lafayette Square Park, and the electric connections were completely off limits. So I had to come up with a way to power the sound system without being able to plug in. And I'm happy that I did, because I had it for today. They did get a guy here just in time, but we'd already got it set up by then.
Thank you for doing the ritual today.
Yes, thank you for doing the ritual.
Yeah, we're from Illinois. This is all started from me. I've been on this campaign since the beginning.
I'm so glad you're here. I thought it was
We're very happy to have been able to come.
It was just, it really inspired a lot of us that you decided to come all the way from Illinois. And, you know, I know he's your favorite son, and, you know, we're proud of him too. And we just think he'll fit in great in DC. His politics are very, very simpatico with the politics of DC. And of course, he's African American. And I mean, all of us in DC are really inspired by that. I'm really happy.
I see that you had a lot of the local people who are very active in the community here today. Would you like to talk a little bit about what you do other than this ritual?
Oh, I'm a shamanic healer. I'm a pagan shamanic healer in my copious spare time. I mean, those of us who are pagan organizers really kind of, you know, we've like signed on for life. And we're just going to, like camels going through the desert, we are going to organize as we go. Whether we get food, water, or bathroom breaks. Anyway, in my copious spare time, I'm a shamanic healer. I'm trained by the Foundation for Shamanic Studies, mainly by Sandra Ingerman, who is the author of Soul Retrieval. And I have a conference coming up. I also organize the Sacred Space Conference, which is happening on the February 5th through 8th, just after Imbolc. And we're having a whole lot of really cool people, including Katrina Messenger, who was the priestess today. And I thought she did an amazing job.
I've attended that festival in the past, and it was very wonderful.
Oh, well, we revived it. It was in dry dock for about 3 years, and then we just decided that we all missed it and we would bring it back. And so now we're on track, and we have, this year we have Thorne Coyle, Katrina Messenger, Helena Dominic, and Diana Paxson as our featured guests. And next year in 2010, we have Raven Grimassi and Stephanie Taylor, and Christopher Penzak, and Judica Illis. So we're looking for a really good conference in both of those years, actually.
If people would like to learn more about the Sacred Space Conference, where would they go?
They would go to www.sacredspacefoundation.org.
And if they would like to learn more about the ritual here today or any future rituals, where would you send them?
I have a website that I maintain at www.paganreligiousrites.org. And I also have a Facebook page for Pagan Religious Rights. And actually, it's really silly because they think my first name is Pagan. So it's like, Pagan is animating the spirit of democracy with the ritual of unity and blessing. So, but the paganreligiousrights.org is where I put up the events that we organize here for this type of purpose.
Now, the crystal that was charged in the ceremony.
Yes.
Would you care to explain what's happening with that?
Well, basically what happened is that after I wrote up the press materials, I was dismayed to find that the Park Service did not wish us to put a crystal into the tidal basin. I assumed that because it was a rock and therefore an inert entity. Of course, I think rocks are beings. So it's an inert entity and not a polluting entity that they wouldn't mind. And furthermore, I knew that the monks from the Drepung Lozelling Monastery who did a sand mandala to help us after 9/11, they had poured the sand into the tidal basin, but I think they got special permission through the Smithsonian. And since we didn't be able to do that, I am going to make alternative arrangements for the crystal quietly and discreetly.
Very good.
Yeah.
But this has been a wonderful event today, and you've done a beautiful job.
Thank you very much.
And you were telling me beforehand that you normally work in trance.
Yes.
And so this was a different experience for you.
Well, it's very rare for me to speak the way I did. In the past things that I've organized, I was just the master of ceremonies or the mistress of ceremonies. I read people's bios and explained who they were. And this time I actually spoke, and that made me nervous. But once I got into the ancestor singing, I felt more confident. So.
Well, you did beautifully.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I am happy to provide a focus for people's sentiment about this occasion. And, you know, to me, blessing the city and hoping to protect our leaders is really, really important. I am really looking forward to the next 4 years.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much.
Printing. Oh, we saw a red-tailed hawk as we were coming in to have the dogs sniff our equipment, which is, you know, one of the exciting stages of doing ritual in public places in Washington is the dog sniff. And it's like, how many cats were in these pagan households? And as we were going around the edge, we saw a really big red-tailed hawk. So we're like, okay, the gods are here now.
Yes, indeed.
So.
Hi, my name is Katrina Messenger.
And we're here right in front of the Jefferson Memorial today, after this beautiful ceremony that you were part of the organization of.
Yes.
And I have to tell you that your speaking was very moving and really wonderful. And I guess my first question is, how do you feel after this event?
I feel really good. I was really happy with the turnout. I was happy how it all flowed together. There was a moment at the beginning where, you know, you all had that kind of nervous energy. And I said, you know what? The work has already begun. And everything we need is going to come to us. And so all we need to do is just act on that energy and that knowledge and that wisdom. And that's what happened. It was just perfect. And every speaker brought such lusciousness, such beauty, such joy to the work. And it was such it's an honor to be able to do this kind of work.
It's a much nicer day than people were afraid it was going to be.
Well, you know, we did a little, I'll admit, we did a little weather thingy too, right? We joked about we wanted to get it up to the balmy, warmer 30s from the teens of last week. And the sun came out. I mean, what else could you ask for? It was just beautiful.
Absolutely. I'm hard-pressed to find a good question because you said so many things so eloquently already. And I'm sure I'm going to ask you something that you've already said.
Yeah.
But you spoke very beautifully about what the change that is happening in people and in the country and what is coming in the future. And I guess I'd like to ask you to speak to that again, if you would.
Well, you know, it's kind of interesting how we've all focused on Obama and his administration with such hope. But the reason that his administration and he, the person, carries such a charge for so many of us is that he is embodying what for many of us we've been hoping for within. We've been hoping for a chance to hope again. We've been hoping for a chance to have dreams again, to think of a bright future. And so for many of us, we've been living as if that were not possible, that it was dangerous to dream, it was dangerous to hope, because it would just be dashed. And so here he comes into the picture, and he starts speaking the things that we hear within. And we think that what we're hearing from him is something new. And what he did was show a mirror back to us of our highest ideals and our highest hopes. And so in many ways, we need to understand that we're sending all that love to him because he is holding our bright shadows. He's holding that brightness that lives in the darkness. And now we have to take it back because it's not just him who has to get to work, it's all of us. And that's the whole point, is that we need to understand what everything is happening in this country in the terms of the mythic, in the terms of the larger context and the cultural dream. Yeah, the sun is rising, and he is epitomizing our solar king returning. But we are also rising, and we have to step up to that work as well. And so that's what I talked about, is that it's not just him rising, you know, in the east with a brand new dawn. It is rising also within us.
Now, you're very active here in the local community, I believe.
Yes, I am. I'm the founder of Connect DC, a public ritual group. We go out all over the city, and we do ritual out in the public. My mantra is stop, drop, and do ritual. So we just go somewhere on the spring and fall equinox and the summer and winter solstice. We find an area of the city, because the city is a great big mandala, to tell the truth. We go out and we do magic, right? And we bring the sweetness, the beauty, the reality of magic to the world. And so we do that 4 times a year, and this spring will be 10 years we've been doing ritual in public.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, we've only been rousted by the cops maybe once.
That's quite an accomplishment.
That's quite an accomplishment too.
If people would like to learn more about Connect DC, where would they go?
They can go to the Connect DC website. It's CONNECTDC.org. Or they can go to my website, KatrinaMessenger.com. And there they can click on rituals. It'll take them to Connect DC. If they click on classes, it'll take it to my mystery school, Reflections Mystery School.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome to Washington.
I'm Chief Trickster of Coyote Network News, which is the mythological, astrological, political news service for the trickster within all of us.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I have a wonderful show, the Visionary Activist Show, which you can find, it's on Pacifica Radio, but coyotenetworknews.com will get it to you, archived and podcast and all of that.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And you were part of putting this whole ritual together, yes?
Yeah, it was 3 of us, Caroline Kenner, Katrina Messenger, and myself, Caroline Casey, and it's 3 women born in Washington. We were born here. So Katrina, granddaughter of slaves, and Caroline Kenner, granddaughter of slave owners, and my dad was an FDR congressman, populist. I was born late in his life, but he came to Washington as a young populist congressman working with FDR. So, you know, Mark Twain says history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. So we've got a rhyming going on now, and we are so delighted to cooperate with this moment of time and opportunity for real magic.
Yes, indeed.
Willingness to cooperate with everything.
How, I can't help but notice your earrings. Very cool.
That's right. Yeah, it's Obamanos. Yeah, I'm enthused. I work for progressive left-wing radio, and some of them are snarky. No. But we say, well, that's the amygdala function of the brain, which is to be critical and to scan for safety, and that's good. But don't forget the right hemisphere of the brain, which is vast ecstatic kinship. And there are many ways of telling the story, and many stories going on at once. So critique is good, but critique, vision, action. Oh, absolutely. And so. Yes, we want the kinship part of our brain. We say, you know, election day was ecstatic global kinship. You know, so happy. So we want to keep the sense of miracle while being informed and working with everything. But I think we want to throw snarkiness into the cauldron.
Now that the ritual has happened, how do you feel about it?
Oh, beautiful. You know, a lot of people came from out of town. I sent it out to my list nationwide, and people came and said that this was their best celebration so far. And that's how I feel. This was very real. You know, somebody said that, you know, when I was talking, when we were doing it, that Barack Obama's went by, his whole motorcade went by, and then geese flew overhead, the sun came out, and we go, this feels great. This city, you know, has magical intention laid into it, awaiting our invitation, and the city's happy. I mean,
yes,
I really
indeed.
feel like the city is happy to be called to its purpose.
I noticed that the whole idea of the spirit of place was very important in this ritual, the spirit of the city itself.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of us hadn't been to the Jefferson Memorial, even though we grew up here in a long time, going, this is pretty great. You know, the city is full of props. You know, and here we are in the tidal basin, which, if you look at a map, it's really the river's ear. It's her listening post. So we go, oh, this is a great place to do juju. You know, again, call and response. So, yeah, no, the city was laid down with intention. It was, last March I was invited to lead a march, but I didn't want it to be an War March, More Citizens Constitutional for the Constitution. So reading that useful book, The Secret Architecture of Our Nation's Capital, really great. So we gathered Juju, and there's statues of Isis everywhere. The city's laid out as a goddess-worshipping, ISIS-worshipping Virgo city, you know, on purpose. It's really there. And at the end of the ritual, I had cornmeal, a little bag left, and I went and sat down on the zodiac. The city has more zodiacs than any city in the world, 30. And I was doing that prayer that Obama be 96 years old and honored and by a grateful nation like Nelson Mandela. And I poured the rest of the cornmeal out on the rim of the fountain, and when I got up to go, it really was like Jesus and the pizza. The cornmeal had formed itself into this beautiful image of the woman pouring the waters of life. And it was like, oh, the city's alive. You know, it's responding
Yes,
artfully. And it's like, oh, you know, it is collaborating. We don't have to. What I love to say to everyone is, so it's come to this, has it? At last, we now have to do what we want to do. That's where
Yes,
we are.
indeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A pleasure.
This October, the world of pagan voices comes together in one global gathering, the Pagan World Congress. 5 days, over 100 hours, speakers, rituals, music, and town halls streamed across the world. Join the conversation, shape the future, be part of history. The Pagan World Congress, October 9th through 13th, 2025. Online at paganworld.co.